Gentlemen, hello and welcome back from the MLG offices in New York City. You're watching Stars War Season 3. We're down to 4 players. A lot of money on the line. First place gets 10,000 bucks. Second place gets something close to that, or like 4,000 or something.
Yeah, I think
There's a lot of money on the line here.
It's a lot of cheeseburgers.
A lot of cheeseburgers, and we got the best players in the world going for
a lot of slices of dollar pizza.
Yes. Wow. Dollar pizza is like one of the most efficient things you can buy, I think. Isn't it?
You mean like already? Yeah, we can jump right in game. It's already going on. You mean as far as talking about food that you don't have to like cook or build, right?
That's a good question. I guess I should.
There's like stuff you can grab easy, right?
Yeah,
For like easy fast food, it's one of the cheapest per calorie fast foods out there.
Yeah.
Not particularly healthy, but per calorie.
Because like in my mind, in New York City, like dollar pizza is amazing, isn't it? I mean, it's not the most healthiest thing in the world. But it's big.
They're giant slices.
Giant slices for $1.
Yeah. And the secret is you just put a whole bunch of like oregano on it.
Yeah. Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, they provide that.
Yeah, it's free. Yeah. Oregano or hot, cracked red pepper.
Oh man, you're tempting me. All right, so let's go ahead and get into Parting versus Sen here. This is game number 2. In the bottom right-hand location, I present your Blue Zerg player from Team Germania, Taiwanese player who has millions of fans across the world. I don't know about millions. A lot of fans across the world. He is Sen. Considered the Taiwanese hero. You know, their national hero. I can't. What other Taiwanese players would be up there? You think? Can you think of any?
There's no one as good as Sen.
Yeah, it's
like Yoel has a decent number of like your slammed or there's a couple others you see up there.
Oh yeah.
But there's no one really at Sen's level. He's kind of just like, I mean, it's kind of like if you go to like Mexico, there's a bunch of good. Actually, there's Jim Rising's been getting ready to get up there, but like Major is clearly the best Mexican player.
Sure.
Right?
Yes. Or like Chile would be killer.
Oh yeah. Or Argentina and
like
Capach.
USA would be Axeltoss. Like
yes.
It's just these obvious names that that everyone's gonna know. For Taiwan, it's Sen. For Korea, could it be this guy in the bottom left-hand location? Your Red Protoss player. He's made a ridiculous amount of money. Made the jump from an ESF team to a Kespa team. He is one of the best players to have ever played Starcraft 2. Might even be the current best player out there. He's the Red Protoss player. Parting.
I have a quick question.
Go for it.
Who's your pick to win WCS Korea Premier League this season?
WCS Korea Premier League.
Yep. I can tell you, it's going to be one of two players. There's no way it's going to be anyone except for either Party or Joxy.
You think so?
It's either Party or Joxy, hands down.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't even know who else is in it. I mean, I do. And Sulky has an outside chance. Sulky's actually really freaking good.
It's a great question. You know, Trap has been impressing me a lot lately.
Joxy's gonna be in the finals. I'm sorry. Joxy's like he's freaking Joxy.
You know,
man.
I'm gonna say 2 Kespa players.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say 2 Kespa players. I'm gonna say.
Oh, so you know what's interesting? Actually, it's all Kespa except for Joxy and Maru.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow, Kespa's really.
Yeah, man.
This was like 2 seasons ago. They're like just coming into WCS.
Now you're understanding my prediction.
Yeah. It's actually struck me how quickly Kespa has just dominated the Korean scene.
Okay, I'll go ahead and predict it. Anything interesting going into this game before I tell people what's going to happen in WCS Korea?
We just see a standard Nexus first expansion, fast 3 hatcheries.
Let's keep an eye on the units.
No, last game it was a gateway expansion, so it's a little bit different than last game. Of course, it's a different map, different structure. The build he did last game would be a little bit more difficult to execute on Newkirk Precinct. The stalker pressure would be great, but the third behind it, if you take it here, there's just so many ways speedings can come in.
Yeah.
Even this base, there's still 2 ramps.
There's a lot of gaps and run by potentially have to worry about.
And it's not that like, oh, you're going to die, but you could just take damage. You can be pressured to make additional defenses.
Stargate there. I like that. Close air distance on this map, which is nice. Phoenixes can be good to not only kill overlords, but to kind of force your opponent to make spores, take out queens from your opponent. And there's a lot of distance between the natural and the third base for the Zerg, so it's hard to get creeped there very fast. And Phoenixes can take advantage of that. And
Parting is also probably, I would say he's the best Phoenix PvZ player there is. As far as just being able to always get like, his damage with the Phoenix is insane. I've seen people get like 8 spores against him. Like, okay, he won't get the queens, but he'll still find a way to use every single possible energy from the Phoenix, either lifting a roach or a drone, depending on if the Zerg's going roaches or not. You'd probably rather pick off the roaches. And then, of course, not even taking significant damage on the Phoenixes, and meanwhile, just back at home, everything's going smoothly too. His Phoenix, control and multitask is just exceptional.
Parting loves those units he can get out early again to give himself some momentum, to give him some flexibility on the map, and to kind of bring the direction, like he kind of influences the direction that the game takes. And that's what these Phoenixes are kind of meant to do. Stalker taking out an Overlord here is a pretty nice pick off. I think he'll get it. He should
Yeah.
get it. Yeah, he'll get it.
That's actually a slip up from Sen in
That's
a bit.
unfortunate too.
Yeah, that Overlord really probably shouldn't have been there.
Yeah.
Especially knowing Party, he likes to get the early Stalker out there.
He sneaked the Ling. Snuck a Ling? Oh, no, that's an Overlord.
Yep. Spotting the fact that there's Phoenixes. Party wasn't really trying to hide it too much.
Yeah.
He was kind of stockpiling a bit. He was hoping he'd get to 4 and do a surprise move. Now, most Protoss reveal them instantly. In fact, a lot of Protoss nowadays will just put this target in their wall.
Sure.
Just to get that wall up a little bit faster. So Party doing this little trick where he tries to hide the Phoenix is kind of like, you know, why not? Just throw it in there. Like, obviously, you don't get the Overlord kills quite as early, quite as fast. But
your goal is going to be getting 2 Queens right away if you save up those Phoenixes.
Yep. And now it was spotted, so he's not going to get that.
So he's going to go for drones.
Yeah. With only 3 Phoenixes, it would take 2 lifts to kill Queen. With this 4-color as progressed as it is, it would have been a kind of a risky move to try to get the Queen kill. So instead, he got, 3-4 drones there, which is, absolutely fine.
Some spores being added on from Sen as well, also going up to layer, and Parting is going to identify all of this. We also have 1-1 on the way. Parting is also looking out for units his opponent has. Does he have a Roach Warren? Does he have a lot of Lings? How many Evo Chambers does he have? He sees the 2 Evo Chambers. He sees the layer. So I feel like Parting can kind of guess what his opponent is up to right now.
Yeah, the 2 Evos before the layer this early usually means the melee upgrade. Typically, people going Roach Hydra, they'll start taking first because they really want to get Roach speed up as fast as possible. They want to get Hydra range up as fast as possible. Then they'll get the Evo, maybe even just a single Evo for range upgrades, like right after they start layer. So if it's double Evo, it's almost always Zerglings.
Parting is taking a third behind this as well. This is something he did in the last game, though it's a little bit more delayed than last game.
He got the Robo first.
Yep.
And I mean, well, this whole game actually is built because he did Stargate and he did Stargate, then Robo, then third. So this is kind of like if you just want to play a staple PvZ style, this is like one of the best ways to do it. You just get some Phoenixes, you start going towards Colossi, and you take a third, kind of as you're halfway, working your way towards Colossi.
Keep an eye on what your opponent is making, on what they're potentially up to. Take out some drones here and there.
Yeah, and look at the energy on these Phoenixes.
Staying low.
Yeah, and they're alive too. There's one that's got a little bit scratched, but that's just because he wanted to get scratched. So you got to get some war wounds so we can talk to all the female Phoenix pilots and show off.
Yep.
Or maybe maybe there is a female pilot talking to the male pilots. Yeah.
We don't know.
Yep.
We don't know what goes on in the minds of those Phoenixes, but so far Parting is a perfect game.
Yeah. Oh, this is. I mean,
This is something we're familiar with.
Yeah.
Parting.
He actually he's had a decent number of perfect games in the pro Korean scene. It's pretty insane.
Yes.
Him and MC both are actually known for that. MC typically with early aggression, but both of them their control with their units is spectacular. And we see the standard stuff coming out from Party. Going for the thermal lance, continued attack upgrades, additional gateways. Blink is I think he already has Blink, right? Or no, he's going charge before Blink. Interesting. This is a little bit different. I think this is a reaction to
all the Lings? Is that what it is?
Yeah, he sees his opponent's not going Roach Hydra, so he's like, I don't really want that many Stalkers, so he's not going Roach Hydra. I'd rather have Zealots. And so why not get Charge? Charge is, of course, better against Infestors, better against Zerglings, so obviously he'd rather have Zealots than Stalkers. Not that he would need Charge so much. And he's going up to the Templar as well. So now what's on Parting's mind is, what's the end goal of Sen? Is it going to be a mass Muta switch? I keep scouting for that. Is it going to be Ultradus? Is it going to be Banelings? Is it going to be Infestors, Vipers? So having the Templar Archives up allows him to get those Templar, which can be very good against Banelings, Infestors, or Vipers. Of course, Storm is one of the best things against Banelings, and feedback is essential against those Zerg energy-based units.
Yeah, I mean, whenever your opponent is making a lot of Lings and you see that they're 1-1, which you can see right now, you know that Storm's going to be good, and you know they're going to have a lot of extra gas that they might be spending on the heavy tech units. And High Templar are pretty much good against all those options. Also, you kind of know your opponent, if they're not doing a timing around the 13-12 minute mark, you can kind of afford to make that leap into High Templar. And he already has a lot of Colossi, so he can stay safe to any timing so far anyway. So overall, pretty darn good play here from Parting. Sen establishing a 4th base, trying to make a decision on where he wants to go. The Baneling Nest is going to get spotted. Also keep in mind, Sen, he has Overlord drop researched. still get a perfect game here for Parting. He has Overlord drop researched, so he does have the ability to drop some Banelings if he so chooses.
Yes, he's getting speed as well, so that could be dangerous. One very important thing is once he has +2 melee attack, a drop Baneling does one-shot probes. So that's a key attack upgrade for Baneling drops against probes. Take them out in a single shot. They have like 3 armor, you need to get the 3rd attack, but most Protoss don't get the armor quite that fast. One thing that's actually important to note is Sen's economy has been kind of behind this whole game. Typically when a Zerg plays like a 4-base turtle style, they're going to go up to 80, 90, even 100 drones.
Yep.
He's just now getting up to 76. But here we go, Parting with a giant attack.
He's sending a lot of Banelings up to the top, and Parting sees this. He's going to try to isolate this Colossi. Will they fall?
Yeah, he actually takes him out.
Yeah, that's not terrible.
No, that was great.
Yeah.
I mean, people say Banelings aren't great against Colossi, but if you can hit 2 or 3 at a time, it's actually not too bad. He was able to make the distance coming in. Archon's doing a great job there.
Looking for the Zealots. Looking for the Zealots.
He didn't get them.
Banelings.
He got some, but the Archons took most of the Baneling hits in. If Parting can back up and regenerate their Archon shields or get enough Zealots to get in front of him, he's actually going to be in great shape. He's going back in here again. There are a lot of queens. Yeah.
I like that. Also, a lot of Lings in production. And Sen has plenty of gas, so he can make a lot of Banelings right now if he wants.
Yeah, Banelings are what he needs against the Zealot-heavy competition of Parting. But also just the fact that Sen's upgrades are at 2-2 really helps him out against the 2-0 of Parting.
And his opponent's on creep, too.
Yeah, I mean, the Zealot versus Zerging dynamic, typically Protoss, in order to trade well without a lot of Storms or Colossi behind them, they really want to have an extra attack upgrade over the Zerg's armor. Here come the Banelings.
Okay, going for a surround here. The Lings coming in as well. The Banelings trying to explode into those Zealots, and an Archon actually being picked up there from Parting. So fancy with his micro. A lot of Queens still alive here. More Banelings coming in. They don't necessarily want to explode into those Archons, taking one down, but Parting still is so much up. It seems like Sen doesn't really have a response to these Archons.
Yeah, you know, Parting's been able to keep them alive with great micro. I think he's only lost 1 or 2 Archons, even though there's been so much damage. If you combine them all, their shields keep regenerating. Sen needs something to take him down. Now, if the speed needs to get a surround onto Archons, they do great against him, but Parting always has just enough Zealots to take those hits.
Of course, to minimize the surface area of those
Archon
Lings.
is still alive. The Queens turn around. They wanted to get it, but yeah. Wow, Sen is Parting's just crushing through this. I thought Sen had a great defense at first, but Sen's been unable to continue to spend his money. He put all his Queens up at the front, and he didn't build an Ultras Cavern behind us, right? So normally a Zerg at this point would be Ultras round forward, but because he hasn't built that Ultras Cavern, and his Queens have ran forward, so he hasn't had quite the same injects, he's stuck with a ton of resources and no great ability to spend it. Parting with a similar case on the minerals, but there we go.
Wow. Okay, so Parting once again, everything going his way. I felt like Sen did a little bit of a better job this game than last game in defending off against that attack, but he just didn't have an answer to those Archons, and we kind of theorized that's due to how Parting was kind of microing his stuff.
Yeah.
What could Sen have done better there?
I mean, really, what's actually, Ultras are very powerful against Archons. It used to be in Wings of Liberty they weren't that great because they only dealt a small amount of damage, but they changed them to do their full damage to every target now. And so Ultras are actually great against the Zealot Archon competition. They'll run right through it unless they're massively outnumbered. So he just really needed to get those Ultras on the field. And he had the resources, but it's one of those things where he hit Hive, and he was being pressured, and he was afraid to build the Ultras Cavern. But he held out the pressure for long enough that
he could have had Ultras out if he had made that Ultras Cavern right when that push started, kind of a thing?
Yeah, right when Hive hit, or right when the push started.
Sure.
And it's one of those things where it's a common problem that you're being attacked, and you don't want to invest in attack or into economy. But there's a lot of cases where you actually have more resources than you can spend with your given production anyway. Because typically your opponent's hitting a timing before your production kicks in. So your production actually isn't at that point where you can spend your resources. So you might as well keep teching. It's not going to hurt you. Money in the bank doesn't help you very much.
You got to adjust on the fly, depending on what your opponent does. So Parting, he's up 2-0 in this best of 5, the semifinal of Stars War League Season 3. And Parting is 1 win away from advancing to the finals, guys. We're going to take a quick break. Sen has some work to do. He's going to need to win 3 in a row or he'll be knocked out of this tournament. Stay tuned.